Edmonton Oilers are looking to wrap up and salvage a 4-game Eastern road trip. 4 out of 8 points sounds a hell of a lot better than 2 out of 8 points as the Oilers head to Madison Square Garden, the Big Apple, baby, for a meeting with the New York Rangers for the second and final time this season. But you know what it is. Hello, what up, and welcome to Pregaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant, and is a presentation of Bet365. Download the app, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. And when you download that app, you use the promo code NATION to help out your fellow nation network. Hello, everybody. Let's check in to the chat. Come on. You know who the first comment of the day is from. It's from Austin. He says, good day, my ON family. Bordzy, let's fire up the fucking band, baby. That's the energy I'm looking for. It's game. It's our time. 2 in a row. Yep, yeah. Get the likes up on this chat, folks. Let's get her going. Loyal to oil. Woo, game day. Let's go, boys. I still don't know how I feel about Oilers game days on Sundays. These are days meant for football and me doing physically nothing all day long, nursing a hangover because Bordzy got after it last night. He's on a 48-hour bender. Mr. Burns, let's go Oilers. I'm wearing my lucky La Bamba shirt, so let's get that big fat dub. Yup, yeah. Then the Iron Duke is in. Vegas losing to the Sabres and Devils right after we did is just relieving, really. Yup, yeah. You in here? You, I believe that's how you would say that. Can we just have Trent Frederick back already? It's like getting a new toy, knowing what you're going to get for Christmas, but you can't actually play with it or open it up until Christmas morning. Bullshit. Give me Trent Frederick. Dylan's in, says, let's go Oilers. Cup, yeah. Maynard, good point. This is a subtly very important game here for the Edmonton Oilers. New York Rangers and Oil, they need all the points they can get in the playoff race. Oil comfortably in a spot. Rangers in that mess of teams over there in the Eastern Conference trying to book a ticket to the dance. Lance is in, just says we back, baby. Lance was the best dressed person at Greta on Friday night, wearing his rhinestone Oilers jacket. His hat on the brim says cup year, because you're damn right you know it does. Shout out Lance. Giant Mike, cup year. Bosch, less Bordzy, more Bordzy. That only makes sense if you can read it on your screen, but you can tell by the man joining me this evening, Zachary Laing. I texted you yesterday. All I said was 2 words, bullpen call. What did you say?
I'm in.
Because that's what he does. That's what he does. Night in, night out, game in, game out. Zach Laing, news director here at Oilers Nation. Zach, how was your weekend? I just mentioned I went on a bit of a bender. Really, from the moment Oilersnation After Dark ended on Friday, Brett and I think, played that beer pong game for, I'd say, 2 hours of combined actual gameplay on the game. You need to come play. It is fantastic. It's obviously a game we're very familiar with, but for some reason, balls shooting out of machine and floating in the air, that's just sick, dude. It's just catch and shoot. It's like practice constantly out there. And then last night, of course, I drank some green beers. Had an awesome St. Patrick's Day. I said to Pat, I spilled so much green beer on myself yesterday. It was just all over the place. But Zach, how was your weekend this weekend?
Bordzy, you know what? It's been pretty good. Just kind of taking it easy this weekend. Just been hanging out, watching a lot of golf this weekend. Players Championship going on, of course. Sweating some bets on Bet365 right now. So that's some good fun right there. But yeah, no, it's been good, man. And as soon as I got that bullpen call, you know that I was ready to come out and help close out a couple of innings for you.
Loosen up that arm, brother, because I know you're ready to throw some fucking heat today. That's what I'm looking for the Edmonton Oilers. Want to give a shout out here before to Odd Company Nation Beer Everyday Lager. I drank so many of these this weekend, and I don't regret a thing. I saw Ty and Liam were out at the Bon Spiel, I believe is how you say that. They were curling this weekend, and they were enjoying some Odd Company Nation Beer Everyday Lagers. Perfect for game day, perfect for every day. as Sasky Girl Oil Fan just points out, I will be honest with you, there's no beer in here today. I don't think I could do that, man. I don't know what would happen to me. That is straight water in there, people. And that's how you know Bordzy had one hell of a weekend. But it kicked off on Friday, Zach. We were at Greta for flight night. Shout out to Ken, I do believe was his name, the winner of flight night, Zach. He said he's bringing his 19-year-old son on the trip. I went, that's nice. Do you know where we're going? Because we're going to Vegas. You probably want to be 21 years of age. Either way, he's winner, chicken dinner, do whatever the hell Ken wants. He came out. We had an awesome time at Greta on Friday night. But I had to mention it before the show, or to Pat, sorry, before the show. Oilers Nation every day on Friday was basically a funeral for the Edmonton Oilers. It was dark. It was not positive. It was just a little bit of a pity party, which sometimes we do need to do. But pre-gaming, it's pre-gaming for a reason. We were at the bar Friday night. We went strictly positive vibes. We also were gassing beers. We changed up Bordzy's bankroll. Shout out to the chat because we went 3 for 3 on that with a simple Leon Draisaitl parlay. 3 shots, 2 points, 1 goal. Cha-ching. Sports are supposed to be fun, Zachary. We had a ton of fun Friday nights. But I tell you, that game, not the ideal performance from the Edmonton Oilers. A win is a win. Doesn't matter what's around it. Beggars cannot be choosers. But it took the Oilers, 64 minutes to score 2 goals against the New York Islanders. It's been documented. We all know the scoring lows that are going on for the Edmonton Oilers right now. If I knew how to fix it, I probably wouldn't be doing this job. I'd be behind the bench for the Edmonton Oilers. The depth scoring phrase, the negative connotations that come with that depth scoring always seems to find a way to poke its head at some point in the Edmonton Oilers season. It is happening right now. Nobby on Friday, give him credit. He didn't totally blend. Granted, once again, had a couple beers in that hockey game. Might have missed a couple things in that game, but Nobby tried new line combinations in that game. Adam Henrique on the top line, but he's going to stick with them again tonight. But this Oilers offense, dude, it kind of seems right now anyone not named Leon, we'll get to him in just a minute, is struggling mightily to find offense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, all the offense right now for the Oilers is coming through Leon Draisaitl. In one way, I guess it's kind of nice because Leon Draisaitl's having a Hart Trophy season here right in front of our eyes. He's looking absolutely incredible, doing so much for this team right now. I know friend of the nation, Dmitry Filipovich on Twitter, posted a great little highlight reel of Draisaitl's game against the Islanders. He just dominated them that entire game. It was beautiful. Chris Knoblaw had some great comments too about, Leon Draisaitl should win the Hart Trophy, but he should also win the Selke Trophy. Like, he's been great defensively for the Edmonton Oilers this year. We all knew it. We all know it takes time for the defensive game to come around for young players in the NHL. Boy, has it really ever for Leon Draisaitl, because for as much as he's a dog in the offensive zone, he's equally much so in the neutral zone and defensive zone for this team right now, which is absolutely huge because that means you can go put Leon Draisaitl out on a line with Connor Brown and Corey Perry, and it can kind of work. They had a couple of good chances. They had a couple of good looks. It's been an interesting couple of weeks here in Edmonton, right? I mean, Chris Knoblaw was pretty critical of the team last week in some post-game comments talking about how, defensively or like offensively, the depth players aren't really contributing for the Oilers, but they're contributing in negative ways on the ice, turning over pucks, allowing goals against to happen. It felt like there was some buckling down of that, I suppose, in the game against the Islanders, especially when you talk about, the guys who Connor and Leon were playing with. And Knoblaw was quick to say too, that like, when some of these players are with those guys, they just defer to Connor and Leon all of the time and kind of get away from their game. Well, the nice thing about a guy like Adam Henrique up on that top line now, he kind of plays his own game all the time. And Corey Perry and Connor Brown are very much similar players in that sense. They know what to do. They don't get distracted by who they're playing with. They just get out there and work their asses off. And that's kind of what the Edmonton Oilers really need right now. So I don't know how long these lines are going to stick. I don't entirely hate them right now. That's for sure. Be curious to see what happens tonight against a Rangers team that's kind of reeling this year as well.
Brady's in. He says, I love the Rico promotion. Davin says, Rico only played 5 minutes with McDavid, so relax on that. What did you think of that decision? Because I'd argued Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, don't want to use the word invisible, but as close to invisible as you can be. He's been on that top line with McDavid and Zach Laing. It hasn't been a very fruitful offensive production season for Adam Henrique as well on the third line center role. And I argued, could it really get worse for either one of those guys if you swap them in those roles? We've seen Adam Henrique play well with Connor McDavid in very limited ice time at the end of last season, but he scored 24 goals in the top 6 with the Anaheim Ducks last season, and then coming over to the Edmonton Oilers and kind of through and through this year. Nuge, he's had hot streaks, he's had good moments, but he's definitely been, I think, colder than hotter. What did you think about Rico taking Nuge's spot?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, even if they only played a couple of minutes, I think it's a good move. Adam Henrique is a guy who's been a top 6 player his entire career, right? And, the Oilers have really asked him to kind of change his role and change his game, basically since he was acquired last year. And it feels like at times he's kind of struggled, especially offensively on that third line, because he's not really playing an offensive game. They want him out there as kind of the checking line and playing solid, strong defensive hockey, which I think Adam Henrique has done a good job of. But I don't mind this at all to kind of mix things up and get a different look here. Again, Rico's a guy who's played a lot of top 6 minutes in his career. So, he's put up points with the Anaheim Ducks. He struggled to do so again here in Edmonton, loses power play time. That's obviously a huge issue there. Because even if you're not really scoring a lot on the power play or anything, you're handling the puck and you're getting some offensive confidence, and feeling that a little bit more is a big thing. So hopefully they see a little bit more minutes here together tonight. I think they're going to need to against this Rangers team. A solid top 6 for the Rangers here. So I don't mind it whatsoever, man. I think it's kind of a good thing. And, the obvious caveat here that we'll find out more about in about 20 minutes is whether or not Zach Hyman's going to be playing. There's an undisclosed injury or illness or issue going on for him that's kind of left him a game time decision. So be curious to see what happens here when these lines come out in the next half hour.
I love doing pre-gaming live when we get some lineup news and we get to sit here and go, what? Oh, on Friday when I saw Connor Brown on the second line, I went, what the hell is going on? And then you could put anyone with Leon Draisaitl, dude. You could put me with Leon. Gina's in, though. She says, listen, I love Nuge so much, but if he's going to be somewhat ineffective, it's better for him to do it further down the lineup. Lance also says, let's bring Derek Ryan back. You in or out on Derek Ryan, Zach? Because ever since they got rid of him, it has just plummeted for the Oilers.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, the game really has passed him by this year. I mean, he was not doing great earlier this year. Wasn't really killing penalties or anything like that. But, when you take a look at this Edmonton Oilers lineup right now, like who has been the 4th line center for the last little while here? Like Kasperi Kapanen. Like what are we doing here? The Oilers don't have a 4th line center. Whether it's Derek Ryan or Noah Philp, like I think somebody's got to come up here and be an actual center to play center here for the Edmonton Oilers. It's not like that 4th line sees much minutes anyways, but it really doesn't feel right to have like Matthias Janmark or Kapanen, playing on that 4th line center spot. It's weird to me. It's really weird to me.
It feels messy. I also would argue Kasperi Kapanen is not a centerman. Matthias Janmark, also not a centerman, but I would argue is a better one. And in the last game, Navi is Kapanen down the middle of the ice and Matthias Janmark on the wing. And I'm just like, give me Noah Philp, give me Derek Ryan. I don't know. Give me Trent Frederick. Maybe he will solve all my problems. I did like this one in here from Maynard. Where is this team without Leon? Draft lottery? Seriously, dude, where would this team be offensively? He's Leon Hart Trophy Draisaitl. I like that you said Selke in there as well. It's a scary thought thinking, what would it be like without Leon? Thank the Lord he's locked up for 8 more years, which I was talking to some dudes last night about the salary cap going up in the NHL over the next couple of years. And we were like, Leon's contract value, he's had 8 years of being severely underpaid. And then when this thing gets into year 2, 3 of 14 million, he's probably going to be severely underpaid once again. God, you got to be lucky, man. You got to thank your lucky stars every step of the way. But Leon, he's going scorched earth on these mofos lately. He's on a 17 game point streak, longest of his career, 26 points over that stretch, 14 of which are goals, 49 on the season, one away from 50. He has a 12 goal lead on second place William Nylander, which is just crazy to even think about. Once again, though, going to need to see something from more than one Leon Draisaitl. Somebody also put in the chat here, Lauren, sad watching McDavid's interview. He seems so defeated with his game. He seemed just very appreciative of Leon Draisaitl's game in his pre-game interview earlier today, just saying he's been the most consistent player, and he's consistent day in, day out with what he eats, how he practices, how he sleeps. You got to be a crazy athlete to play like that. But Zach, we are officially into scoreboard watching season because this Pacific Division, boy, oh boy, she's getting tight here, Pat. Pull it up for me. Oh, I guess we got that one too. The Pacific Division, it's getting interesting. Vegas Golden Knights up 5 points on second place LA Kings, who have 81. The LA Kings, though, 2 games in hand over those Golden Knights. And then 1 point up on the Edmonton Oilers with 1 game in hand over the Edmonton Oilers last night. You had to be scoreboard watching because both the Kings and the Golden Knights were in action. Both of them decided to play some extra hockey. Vegas would lose to the Buffalo Sabres in a shootout, while the LA Kings would win a 1-0 game in overtime over the Nashville Predators. So Kings get 2 points. Vegas Golden Knights only get 1. Zach, hate to say it, the dream of a Pacific Division banner hanging in Rogers Place from this season seems slimmer and slimmer by the day. Still very possible. Still holding out hope that that April 1st game when we head on the nation vacation is going to matter. I mean, it's going to matter, but severely for top spots in the Pacific. Obviously, the Oil take on Vegas one more time there. They play LA 2 more times in the month of April. But Zach, thoughts, feelings on the race right now? Because I probably shouldn't be confident in that they get the top spot in the division. And brother, it's looking like 4 straight years of Oilers Kings. But who has home ice advantage in that series? That's the big question.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You mentioned the scoreboard and what's coming up here. We're entering a really critical time for the Edmonton Oilers this season. Tonight's game marks the last game against an Eastern Conference team for the Edmonton Oilers this year. Every single one of the next 15 games the Edmonton Oilers play are against teams within the Western Conference. It's huge. It's going to be huge for the Oilers here. Absolutely. Things are, the callers are getting a little bit snug right now. It's starting to get really tight here. And this entire Oilers team is really going to have to find another level here and do so very, very quickly. Connor, he's got to find his game. He's got to get his, game to a good place right now. Leon Draisaitl, obviously he's Leon Draisaitl. His game's in a great place right now. But, hockeyviz.com has the Oilers with a 61% chance to face off against the LA Kings this spring in the first round. So it's looking like we're set for round 4 here between the Oilers and the Kings. I'll be honest, I don't necessarily feel the greatest about it this year, Bordzy, just given the way this team has looked as a whole as of late. But hopefully Trent Frederick can get back here soon. Hopefully Evander Kane's ready to roll for game 1 of the playoffs. And we'll see what this team can do. I think missing Matthias Ekholm right now has kind of really hurt this team as well. This is a guy who really since January has just not been himself, consistently battling an illness that's just really kind of impacted his game in a big way, I think. So it's a good thing that he's finally getting some time off and a chance to really get some rest, after forcing himself to kind of play through the 4 Nations face-off. Going to be curious to see what happens with these Oilers here over the next month or so.
Matthias Ekholm was sick for what felt like over a month, dude. Every time he gave an interview, just sounded like total shits, and good for him that he rested for this entire Eastern road trip. And shout out Jake Woolman because he's been handling those first pair of minutes. But dude, you're not the only one who's a little less confident. Carl says if Kings and Oil clash in playoffs again, I am not confident that they will prevail. It's the classic, you play 100 times. The LA Kings are going to win that series eventually. And once again, with home ice advantage, we all know how important that is come the NHL playoffs. Somebody else, or Lance, says, I'm not worried about standings. All I know is it's a cup. Yeah, Lance, if he's anything, he is very consistent in his blind faith for the Edmonton Oilers. Gina, that's crazy. The NHL wanted this West race to be wide open from now till the end of the season. And then Christopher Palmer, who was just in New Jersey, I do believe. Christopher Palmer, how many buildings have you now been in the NHL? I'm very curious. But he says that road trip is going to really matter. Vegas Golden Knights, San Jose Sharks, LA Kings, Anaheim Ducks coming on in April. Mr. Burns, simple. Yeah, baby. Speaking of playoff races, well, the New York Rangers, this is a pregame show. The opponent that we're playing tonight, well, they are in a playoff spot. They defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-0 last night. Igor Shesterkin pitched that shutout, and they are in a playoff spot for the first time in a minute this season. It has been a roller coaster, to say the least, for these Rangers. But, dude, that's one of the positives of when you play desperate hockey. Rangers, they're already playing playoff hockey. They have been for a week or two, and they will be from now till the end of the season. That group of teams that is vying for their final 2 wildcard spots in the East, it is a very tight race, but kind of very similar to the Edmonton Oilers. Well, these Rangers, they have been plagued by inconsistencies all season long. An offense that has the name value hasn't necessarily performed up to snuff. They just should be providing more than they have given up, allowing high danger chances on the other end. Sound familiar, Edmonton Oilers fans? It's like the Spider-Man meme kind of going on right now. But both of these teams in playoff races, in playoff hunts, both teams need these 2 points. Zachary, the New York Rangers kind of been a butt of a joke for a large portion of this season. Last year, they were in the playoffs. They were a wagon of a squad, and then kind of felt like from right out of the gate, they just didn't look like the same team. They have made a number of trades before the deadline and at the deadline. So it is a different looking roster. JT Miller, he's back tonight. But Zachary, Rangers, give them credit. They're fighting, they're scrapping, they're clawing, they're trying to play playoff hockey.
Yeah, they're trying to. They've had a good week here. HockeyViz has their playoff chances climbing significantly over the last 3 days here, from 25% up to 42.5%. So, there's a chance. I don't necessarily think that they're going to get there. And if they do, they're probably a first round bounce. I mean, there's been issues going on with this Rangers team for basically a year now. They had a good run in the playoffs last year, but as soon as that offseason hit, all the drama with Jacob Trouba really started to pick up, and they tried to flip him to the Ducks, but he said no. And then it lingered into this year, and it took until December for them to trade him to the Ducks when Trouba finally, kind of caved under the weight of a possibility of landing on waivers. And it just feels like they haven't really been able to kind of get out of their own way this season. The trades haven't really worked out. The Trouba trade obviously was not a great one for the team, but it saved him some money in the long run. JT Miller's been just fine since the Rangers acquired him. Had a great couple of games to start with, but I think, I was looking at it the other day. I think there's something like 3-6-1 or something like that since they acquired JT Miller. Might be like 4-6-1 now or something like that. It's not like it's been going great since he's arrived here. So, obviously then you got the Capo Caco trade, which is another big one, moving a troubled winger who was struggling to get his game, who's like 22 years old, and he's just been lighting it up in Seattle so far. So, been a pretty tough sledding here for the Rangers. Like I was talking about it on Twitter the other day, like I wonder how much length Chris Drury has left in him. This is, he's on his second head coach right now. It was Gerard Gallant. Now it's Peter Laviolette. Do they fire the coach after the season? If they fail to make the playoffs, I think so. And then, that's when the time starts to really tick for Chris Drury there. And it's kind of crazy because he's been there for a very long time. Started in player development, moved up to assistant GM, worked with their AHL club in Hartford, and then moved up to the NHL ranks as their general manager, as he's been for the last 4 years here. So going to be interesting to see what happens here the rest of the way. But I know one thing, Igor Shesterkin hasn't really been Igor Shesterkin so far this season.
Yeah, I believe he's having a career worst season in save percentage. Of course, it's Still well above 900, but I'd kill to have a down season like that here in Oilers land. Shout out the GDB article today on Oilers Nation website. Check it out, because that's where Bag Milk actually went into some details about the inconsistencies between Chris Drury and Peter Laviolette, that he's made some of these deals. Specifically, they acquired Carson Soucy at the deadline, but last night Carson Soucy got health bombed, which is a little strange for a team that's vying for a playoff spot. Once again, who knows what's going on over there at MSG. Chris Drury, I mean, better than James Dolan. We'll say that about the New York Knicks. Let's go now to our need-to-know information, courtesy of Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn the sweet, sweet Wilhauk name, made from 100% pure Alberta beef. Their jerky is aged, seasoned, smoked, and marinated to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size, and you can find their jerky, sausage, other products exclusively out of their Leduc location. Normally, I'd do the standings watch. Normally, I'd go da-na-na, da-na-na, but we already did that. We know what's going on in the Pacific Division. Tonight, second and final matchup between the Oilers and Rangers. The Oil pumped them 6-2 back on November 23rd, and the Oil have earned at least 1 point in 9 of their last 11 meetings against the Rangers. Over those 11 games, they have an 8-2-1 record. And get this, 4-1 in their last 5 games at Madison Square Garden. The bright lights, Connor McDavid. You picking up what I'm laying down? Also Leon Draisaitl, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Heavily featured in Bordzy's bankroll. Jeff Skinner leads all Oilers in career games and points. Obviously, he played in the Eastern Conference for a while, 31 in 53 games. Connor McDavid, 22 points in 14 career games. And weird, Leon, only 20 points in 19 games. That's still point per game. And I'm saying that's weird. That's how biased and how blessed we are here with Leon Draisaitl. McDavid, he picked up an assist on Leon's OT winner on Friday night, putting McDavid on a incredibly quiet 10-game point streak, while Leon buried 2 goals in that one, extended his point streak to 17 games. So Jack Michaels said earlier today online on Twitter that we should expect to see the same Edmonton Oilers lineup, forward group defenseman, but we will see Stuart Skinner in the crease for the Oilers, coming off a loss to the New Jersey Devils, where I thought Stu was better than the box score would tell you. But once again, another game where Stuart Skinner kind of faltered in the third period. But in his career, 2-1-0 record against the New York Rangers, 2.67 goals against average, with a .920 save percentage. There we go, Stu, looking for him to have a big game in the Big Apple. Once again, we still don't know about Zachary Martin Hyman, but we should probably know that in a couple minutes as the Edmonton Oilers prepare to hit the ice for some line rushes. New York Rangers side of need to know, 33, 28, and 6 record, 4th in the Metro, owning that second wild card spot. They're 1 point up on the Habs. The Habs have 1 game in hand, and there's a bunch of other teams in there as well. It's going to be a tight race. The Rangers come into tonight on a 2-game win streak, 3-2 overtime win over the Minnesota Wild on Thursday, and then a 4-0 shutout over the Columbus Blue Jackets last night, meaning the Rangers will be playing on the second half of a back-to-back. So the Oilers, they're winning in the rest department. Fortunately, the Rangers, 6-4-1 on second half games on back-to-backs this season. They have also secured a point in 3 straight home games. Yes, Zach?
Zach Hyman is not on the ice for warm-ups, according to Bob Stauffer.
Look at you, brother, on that tweet 17 seconds ago. That's your need-to-know information. That's why you pregame with Bordzy and Langsy. Artemi Panarin, he leads the team in points. It's also on my fantasy team. Kind of need a big performance out of him, and I don't think I'm going to win this week, but that is neither here nor there. 29 goals, 71 points in 65 games. He is also riding an 8-game point streak of his own. Vinny Trocheck is the only other player to break the 20-goal plateau this season. There's a couple guys who will eventually. JT Miller, he's fitting in quite nicely on the squad. He's also on a 3-game point streak. And with it being the second half of a back-to-back, Jonathan Quick will get the start against the Oilers. In his career, Zachary, 25, 13, and 6 record against the Oilers with a 2.27 goals against and a 918 save percentage. We saw him goalie the Edmonton Oilers last year in Rogers Place at the beginning of the season. That was during the 2-9-1. Jonathan Quick, he may be old. He may have some down numbers this season. But, Zach, I'm always terrified when the Oilers are taking on Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, definitely a guy that seems to get the best of the Edmonton Oilers. Igor Shesterkin is the one confirmed for the Rangers here tonight, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. It's actually not that great of a record, Shesterkin, against the Edmonton Oilers. 2 games played, 1 win, 3.88 goals against average, and an 869 save percentage. So going to be interested to see what happens here. The Oilers really haven't seen a whole lot of Shesterkin in the past, but they're seeing him here tonight.
Shout out you. I thought it was Jonathan Quick. So Igor with back-to-back games. Let's go. That also makes me terrified as well. So I think I'm just terrified about the Edmonton Oilers and their offense finding a way in this hockey game. Let's go now to our Sherwood Ford Giants storyline brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giants. Come on, you know them, you love them. Hockey fans helping hockey fans. Free valet service for all Oilers Nation fans. Never visit the dealership again for your car service. Come on, people. You know what it is. They will come to your work. They will come to your home. They will pick up your vehicle, and they will drive that bad boy over to Sherwood Ford, do your oil change, do whatever maintenance you need, and then they'll drive that thing back to you at your office or your house. You won't have to literally do it. You'll have to give them your keys. That will be the only thing that you will have to do, the amount of effort. Shout out to Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason. So for me, my storyline is kind of, Zach, when your offense has been lifeless, when you're not getting consistent scoring, simply go back to the basics. Like I'm talking Adam Hockey, brother. No, maybe a little bit after that, but go back to the basics. Throw pucks on net. If you're struggling to score goals, you pump some pucks on net. The New York Rangers also ranked 28th in the NHL in shots on goals allowed. Get greasy with it. Get simple with it. Crash the crease. Shoot from the parking lot. I want to see Evan Bouchard ripping that puck. Don't be scared to do it because you need to create your second chance opportunities, your third chance opportunities. The depth scoring hasn't been there. So many guys in ruts. Come on, Zach Hyman might not be playing, but he knows it better than anyone. Get in that blue paint. They all count the same. It can go off your knee. It can go off your skate. I don't give a shit. But get back to basics. Score a greasy one. Get in Igor Shesterkin's kitchen. I want them to hack away at this guy, but just rip pucks. My key to victory, it's that as well. That's my storyline. Rip pucks. Try and get out of this whatever slump, whatever funk, whatever word it is you want to use here for the Edmonton Oilers and their offense. Zach, you got a storyline? You got a key to victory for me?
Yeah, I think that's a great one there, Bordzy. I'll add to it a little bit. Get to the net. This has been an issue for a long time for the Edmonton Oilers this season. They have not gotten to the dirty areas. I think this Rangers team with their defense right now, I think this is a team you can get to the net against. For the Oilers, that's going to be a real key for them. We started to see it a little bit more, I thought, on Friday against the Islanders there, specifically with that second line. Again, Connor Brown, Corey Perry, guys who just do a really good job of keeping their game super simple. What do? Just get to the net. Let Leon Draisaitl do the work. He'll find you guys down low for some scoring chances. It happened multiple times. Yeah, exactly, Bordzy. Keep your stick on the ice. Keep your head up. Maybe throw a couple chicken wings out at a couple of defensemen or something like that. Mix it up a little bit. But to me, it's going to be get to the net. That's a huge thing for the Edmonton Oilers team right now.
Score some greasy ones, baby. Keys to the game. Also, somebody said, I can't find it, but they said new key to victory: score more than 2 goals. For the Edmonton Oilers lately, that is a tall ask, but hopefully we will find some offense tonight. So as we just announced here. We see it online. Zach Hyman not on the ice for pregame warmups for the Edmonton Oilers. We are still currently waiting for somebody in the building to tweet out some line combinations. It's also kind of hilarious because Jeff Skinner and Chris Knobloch are talking in the chat about what Chris Knobloch will do. He says, might move you up and down depending on how I feel. Depending on how Nobby feels, we can probably expect Jeff Skinner on that top or on that bottom line, that fourth line. But who knows, Pat? If you want to just throw it up here for me so we can take a peek at what the lines were in the last game. Obviously, Zach Hyman not taking warmups, not expected to play. So it's Rico, McDavid, and Zach. Who would you like to see in that Zach Hyman spot tonight?
I'd like to see Zach Hyman in that Zach Hyman spot tonight, to be honest. I don't know, man. It's pretty gross. I could see them maybe bumping Corey Perry up to that top line, Vasily Podkolzin up a line, or maybe Jeff Skinner up to that third line. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arvidsson get the bump either. Like, I think they need some guys who kind of can shoot and get to the net. Arvidsson and Perry both do that fairly well. That's going to be my guess. I'm not sure, though. We'll see. Hopefully somebody gets the lines out here in a few minutes.
I'd like to see Jeff Skinner out there, but I doubt that will be a thing. Chris Knobloch, you've seen very clear in the chat here about your hatred for one Jeff Skinner. I think Arvidsson could be a choice, but then the weird thing is, right, like, I say this half jokingly, dude, it could end up being Matthias Janmark for all we know, right? We've seen it before in spurts. Nobby, not afraid to put Matthias Janmark up in that spot in a pinch with Connor McDavid. Connor and Leon have both said they don't mind playing with Matthias Janmark. They know much better than I do. So it really does feel like it could be anything. Once again, we are waiting here to see what line combinations we will see. But Zach, what was the injury on Friday night for Zach Hyman? Because he barely played in the third period, couple minutes in the second there. I'm struggling to remember what exactly it was. That's probably all the beers I had.
Sorry, I'll need you to repeat that in a second. Kasperi Kapanen is the one getting bumped up the lineup. So it'll be Kapanen up on the top line with McDavid and Zach Hyman. Or sorry,
Adam Henrique with
there we go.
Adam Henrique with Connor McDavid and Kasperi Kapanen. Everything else, Perry, Draisaitl, Connor Brown, Vasily Podkolzin with RNH, and Victor Arvidsson. Jeff Skinner with 4C, Matthias Janmark, and Maximum Jones back in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. So I like that. Not really sure how I feel about Kasperi Kapanen. That's the thing about being in this Edmonton Oilers lineup, Zach, is you can go 1 minute being a healthy scratch. You can then somehow become a fourth line center when you've never played that role in your entire career. And then the next game, you can be on Connor McDavid's wing on the top line. Maybe, who knows? We'll see if the line blender gets busted out in this hockey game. Kapanen has looked good in spurts when he's been in the top six. If we remember, when he was waived by the St. Louis Blues, the Oilers picked him up and immediately threw him on Leon Draisaitl's wing, where he was vaguely productive. He scored goals. Zach, how did he score his goals? He scored one each with McDavid and Dry. He did it by simply putting his stick on the ice, going to the net, finding that quiet area, that soft spot where all of the defenders, all of their attention is on 97-29. Stick on the ice, baby. That's the Zachary Martin Hyman school of thinking. Shout out, Pat. Getting a visual for you here. So Kasperi Kapanen getting some run. Zach, when things like this come down the pipe late, I go Kapanen anytime goal scorer. I bet the juice is loose on that one. I doubt Bet365 offers him for 1+ point. I'm checking, but thoughts on Kapanen getting that shot?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just looking at some of the numbers from the time that Kapanen and McDavid have played together. Nothing crazy great. 86 minutes of 5-on-5 together so far this season for McDavid and Kapanen together. They've been outscored 6-4. Lost the scoring chance battle, lost the high danger chance battle. Not a lot of great things. They've tilted the ice a little bit in favor of the Edmonton Oilers in those minutes. I don't know. I don't feel as great about it for sure, unless I think I think it would have been nice to see Perry or maybe Arvidsson get the bump up there instead of Kapanen. But, again, the one thing that we know about Kapanen, he's fast and he's willing to get to the net. So, those are some definite positives and some things that you need when you're playing on a line with a guy like Connor McDavid.
Reading into things way too much in my thought of seeing this. This was a super severe Zach Hyman injury. It might be an Arvidsson. It might be a Corey Perry for more of a long-term run, long-term solution. Seeing Kapanen up here tells me, okay, at least to me, okay, this might be a short-term absence thing, and we just got to plug holes in this hockey game, throw some speed with 97, and see what happens. There you see deep pairings, Jake Ballman with Bush, Darnell Nurse with Troy Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson. The block shot lead is now only 3 for Brett Kulak, so this thing is really coming down to the wire for me and producer Brad. But Jake Wallman is going to stay in that spot because Matthias Ekholm, as we knew, wasn't expected to play on this road trip, didn't fly on this road trip. But this is the final game, so maybe Eki will be feeling better when the boys come back. Let's go now. Starting goaltender report brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Their Price Thaw event is going on right now. And people, they're going to be at the Edmonton Boat and Sportsman Show March 20th to March 23rd. They're also going to be on your screen during the hockey game because they run a commercial for every one of Oilers games. It's awesome. Come join them there March 20th to 23rd at that boat show. View the latest boats along with ATVs. They will also have a dedicated booth for fish and tackle gear and equipment. All right, Pat, hit it for me. Not going to like looking at these numbers between, the goaltenders. There you go. I got it from my end as well. Igor Shesterkin against one Stuart Skinner. Those numbers, yeah, they're a little bit different. Igor Shesterkin kind of had a 500 record. As I mentioned, Rangers struggled for the majority of the season. He's got a 279 goals against and a career low 907 save percentage. You see Stuart Skinner, 22, 17, and 4. Only 5 games above 500, 2.88 goals against, 896 save percentage, and 2.5 shutouts, if you ask me and Pat. Zachary, Stu Skinner, I thought was much, much, much better than the box score would tell you against the New Jersey Devils. He was making big saves, timely saves, highlight reel saves in that game. Stopped everything that he really could see because he allows 2 unanswered in the third period. Both of them result of a screen in front. He couldn't see those pucks whatsoever. In this one, he's struggled lately. We all know this. It's been, I think, like one of his last 7 games has been a 900 save percentage. The Oilers, 32-6 straight up when they receive above 900 save percentage or better. Can Stu provide 900 tonight? Yes or no?
Yeah, hopefully. 84% of the time he works 100%. I think so.
Yeah.
Like, really need him to find his game here. I think it kind of goes without saying. A lot of the Oilers' success that they could have this year is going to be dependent on Stuart Skinner finding his game. And again, evidently, if he can just post a 900 or better save percentage, the Oilers have an 80% chance to win that game based off of what they've done so far this season. It's pretty remarkable statistic. It really kind of paints the picture of what's been going on for the Edmonton Oilers here. Like 900 save percentage is like below league average. So the Oilers don't even really need league average goaltending. They just need slightly better than below league average. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But again, the numbers have been pretty good for Skinner in his career up against the New York Rangers. 3 games played, 2 wins, a 267 goals against average, a 920 save percentage. So he's been able to do it in the past against these Rangers. Let's see if he can do it again here tonight.
Stuart Skinner over 24.5 saves plus 100.
Man, that's a tight line. I mean, the Oilers have been really good at suppressing teams. The Rangers haven't been really a high volume team as of late here. I don't mind a little sprinkle on that over, though.
It's a sprinkle. It's just because it's the even plus 100 for me. If that was like 22.5 saves, I'd smash the shit out of that. But no, well, who knows? We'll see as we get to Bordzy's bankroll. Other side of it, Igor Shesterkin, we see his numbers there. Zachary, A goaltender is the most important player in the NHL playoffs. We've seen it year in, year out. Goalie gets hot, he can carry a team. If the New York Rangers do get a ticket to the dance and Igor Shesterkin finds lightning in a bottle, that is a guy and that is a team that I would be scared of. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen it. Aiden Hill, brother. Who was Aiden Hill before that? But you get hot, you go all the way to the Cup Finals, you win the Cup. Igor Shesterkin has that ability, but it hasn't been his best season.
Yeah, it really hasn't. I mean, on the year here, 23 wins, 22 losses, 4 overtime losses, 907 save percentage on the year. Really all numbers that are below league average. I mean, over his career, he's been a 918 his entire career. His goals against average, 2.49 throughout his career. I mean, this is a guy who's always turned it on in the playoffs. He's got a 928 save percentage in 44 career playoff games. He's been an absolute dog when it counts. So, if they can get into the playoffs, if they can find a way to kind of squeak in here and make that 42% chance become reality, yeah, they're a team that can be dangerous because they have the goaltender that can get them there. Like you mentioned with Aiden Hill, like we've seen this in the past where goalies can go on a run in the playoffs and quite literally drag a team deep into the playoffs. So it kind of feels like that's also what the Edmonton Oilers need this year, right? Like it feels like the Oilers need, a goaltender who can drag them into the playoffs and drag them through a couple of rounds. Don't know if it's going to be Stuart Skinner or not, but I mean, it's something that the Oilers are going to absolutely have to keep in the back of their minds here.
Need to trap some lightning in a bottle. I'm also loving the alter egos in the chat. Now we have Matt Hendricks in the chat. Shout out to him. That's a name I haven't thought of or said in a very long time, but appreciate it. Throw down your like, Matty Hendricks. Let's go now to the away lineup brought to you by Greta Bar. I shut that place down on Friday night. They needed a wrecking ball to get me out of there. It was an awesome time. Gave away a flight trip for 2 to go on the nation vacation. And people, we're going to be back at Greta March 27th, I do believe it is. Yes, March 27th, when What Chaos is coming to town. They're going to hang out with us. We're going to be pre-gaming with What Chaos live from the bar. You can get your tickets, $15 at nationgear.ca. There's going to be a meet and greet beforehand. They're going to be hosting the event. And I do believe, now, actually, let me confirm. I believe it's in my DMs. I do believe on March 27th, they're going to host a party. So I don't have to do that. Normally, that's my duty. But the Greta manager the other day, when we were playing the beer pong game for hours, he said, man, we should have a beer pong tournament in here sometime. I said, hey, dude, we should do that March 27th and all organize and host the beer pong tournament while they host the entire event. So I think we might be doing that March 27th. They were discussing some prizes, nothing set in stone, but I think that'd be a very fun way to add on to our What Chaos party going down, pre-gaming with What Chaos. Get your tickets, nationgear.ca, all 3 of them. DJ Bean, Pleatback, Heat Blackburn, and producer Sean DePause. But hit it for me here, Patrick, what we believe to be the New York Rangers projected lineup in this hockey game. Your top line, it is Artemi Panarin with Vincent Trocheck and Will Cooley. Second line, Alex Laferriere with JT Miller. The McDavid stopper, he's back with Mika Zibanejad. Third line, Chris Kreider with former Edmonton Oiler Sam Carrick and Brett Berard to finish out the third line there. And then it's Brendan Othman, Johnny Brodzinski, and Matt Rempe. Who knows? Might see a Tilly in this game. Deep pairings, Keandre Miller with Will Borgen, Urho Vakanainen with Adam Fox, Zach Jones with Braden Schneider. This team looks drastically different than the last time the Edmonton Oilers played them. They took them on November 23rd. You mentioned it before, Zach, but been a lot of turnover. Jacob Trouba, he waived his no movement, goes over to the Anaheim Ducks. Capo Caco, he got traded for Will Borgen coming in. Then the Rangers obviously made one of the biggest trades of the deadline, acquiring JT Miller in exchange for Philip Hedl, Victor Mancini, and a first-round pick. Then they traded away Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey to the Avalanche. They traded away Riley Smith. They added Carson Soucy and I believe Nicholas Aube-Kubel from the Buffalo Sabres. So GM Chris Drury, he's been busy lately. and he's trying to swing some moves. You look at this new look roster here, Zachary. You can pick a forward, you can pick a D-man, but give me a player to watch in this hockey game.
Well, I think, the obvious here is Artemi Panarin. And this is a guy who's had the Oilers number for a lot in his career. 8 goals, 21 points in 18 games played. But I'm going to go with a depth defenseman here. Braden Schneider playing on the third pairing. Plays about 18 minutes a night out there. Blocks a lot of shots, takes some shots as well. A guy who has no issue getting down and eating pucks. So that's going to be important for the Edmonton Oilers to keep in mind here. Maybe got to hold on to that puck for an extra second. Let Schneider get down, make it deke around him, and then try and get that shot on Shesterkin. Those are going to be the guys that I'll be keeping an eye on here tonight.
I like this from Matt Hendricks. I will take Rempe's lunch money. Chris Knobloch, Matt, I'll put you in for 1 minute just to fight Rempe. And then also, Nuge is back. Made a few appearances in Bordzy's chat last season. Maybe that's why you're struggling a bit this year, Nuge. You got to be pre-gaming with the fellas. For me, my player to watch, it's what Wise Kyle said. JT Miller, the Oiler killer. I thank my stars every day that he is out of the Pacific Division, that he is out of the Western Conference, and we're only going to have to see this dude 2 times a season because, A, his face pisses me off. I want to punch it in every time I see it. He's incredibly good at hockey, offensively and defensively. He is kind of the closest thing that there is to a McDavid stopper. He made Connor's life hell in the playoffs. Anytime we took on the Vancouver Canucks last season and this season, and he's just that heart and soul kind of guy. He's kind of a dirtbag out there on the ice, but exactly the type of guy you want on your team. Obviously, there's lots of drama about EP40 Elias Pettersson. To me, it sounds like, in my opinion, JT Miller is just the most straight up, blunt dude that there is. That there is what you see is what you get. If he has an issue with you, he is not going to beat around the bush. He's going to let you know. I appreciate the shit out of that. I think that works. I think more people need to be like that. Tell it how it is. And if you get upset, that's your fault, brother. That's your problem that you got upset. JT Miller, he's on that second line. He's playing with Mika Zibanejad. And it's kind of been, since JT Miller joined this team, Zibanejad back into being the player that we know he could be because he's been able to move over to the wing and not have to have as much of that center responsibility. In Zibanejad's first 50 games, he had 9 goals, 29 points, and was minus 25. Once again, plus minus, take it for what you will. In 17 games since the JT Miller trade, he has 6 goals and 20 points and has a +6 rating. He was a black hole on my fantasy team this year. I dropped his ass, and now I see what he's been doing ever since JT Miller's been added. So look for that second line. I'm going with JT Miller, but also partial credit, honorable mention to Mika Zibanejad as well. Couple minutes left in the show. You know what time it is. It's time for Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365. Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, you know it. It's never ordinary at Bet365, official partner of the NHL. Use the promo code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older, and please play responsibly, all right? I didn't let the chat pick all 3, but shout out to chat on Friday because we went bing, bing, bang, 3 for 3 on Bordzy's Bankroll with the Leon Draisaitl parlay, which I might even do again tonight just because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we kick it off with Leon 2+ points, +1 or 2 shots on goal. Sorry, that's what I have written down right there. Yeah, we're going for the shot prop. Dude, he's been all over it lately. Like, I don't even need to explain anything. You could put anything with Leon Draisaitl. You should bet it because it's his world. We are just living it. The next one is Bush, 3 shots on goal. He had 3 shots Friday night against the New York Islanders. The Rangers, as I mentioned, 28th in shots on goal allowed. And I do think Nobby will agree with my sentiment. pucks on net. When you cannot score goals, throw them from the points, get your second chance, get your third chance opportunities. Evan Bouchard, large factor in that. And then the final one, Jake Wallman, to get just 2 shots on goal. You could tease this one up to 3 if you want, because he's hit this 2 shots in all games since being acquired by the Edmonton Oilers, but his games go 3, 3, 2, 3 shots on goals in his last 4 games. So do that at your own risk. I'm just going with 1.5. Parlayed together all of these. It's a cool plus 320. Zachary, which of these 3 bets do you like the most?
I actually like the Jake Wallman one the best here. I mean, this is a guy who's been a volume shooter over the last year or 2 here. You know, as you mentioned, he's cashed this one in every single game for the Edmonton Oilers that he has played now. I've actually got that one parlayed with Darnell Nurse over 1.5 shots on goal as well. He's hit that one in 3 of the last 5. Taking a ton of shots this season. I got that at plus 135. So that's what I'm sweating out here tonight in the Bet 365 streets.
I think I'm going to ride with you. In that. It's a separate parlay. The defenseman shot prop parlay. I like where your head's going. Let's go. All right. Let's lock that in. Bang. I do this live, as you can tell. But let me know in the chat. I'm seeing here. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leon Draisaitl, 47% of the vote. So, people, smash that one if you will. Do so at your own risk. Do so responsibly. Do so only betting what you are willing to lose. All right, Zach, couple minutes here before we can roll out. I've crushed 2 waters during the show. I really have to pee. So here, let's do it. What are our score predictions? And give me an anytime goal score.
Let's go with a 4-1 Edmonton Oilers win here. They start to find some offense. Kasperi Kapanen gets them going with the first goal of the game.
Whoa. Kasperi Kapanen anytime goal is plus 650. First goal plus 4,000. Now that you said it, if it does happen, I'm going to feel like such an idiot. So little sprinkle action on the Kasperi cheeks Kapanen for me. I'm going to say nothing comes easy with this team. I'm going to say 4-3 Edmonton Oilers. Comes down in the third period where Adam Henrique Rico is going to score a big goal for the Oilers on that first line. I see Christopher Palmer. He says RNH, Iron Duke. Extra optimistic. Jeff Skinner, Hattie tonight. Lauren 4-2 Oil. Levi 5-3 Oil. MB first NHL goal. Jeff Skinner then says Hattie for I. Christopher Palmer 3-1, and we get an empty netter. Tommy Sallow in the chat says Stu will get the game winner. That's about the time to end it there. I love you all. I appreciate you all, and especially you, Zach Laing. But big shout out to our sponsors, Sherwood Ford the Giant, Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, Greta Bar Yegg, Bet365, Willock Beef Jerky. Come on the Nation vacation. You can still get them. Still get some last-minute tickets at nationgear.ca. I believe last call tomorrow, I want to say. So come on. You can party with me and Ken, the gentleman that won the Nation vacation trip for him and a friend on a Friday. I love you all. Throw down your courtesy like on the way out. Keep it locked here on this YouTube channel. Talk in the chat throughout the game because Zach and I will be live right here after the Edmonton Oilers hopefully salvage this Eastern Conference road trip. Hopefully grab 4 out of 8 points. Knock on wood. Why did I already say that? I love you all. And as Lance says, Cup yeah, over and out.
Cup yeah.